This is it. Welcome to Rolex 24 at Daytona Speedway in Florida. Today, I'm going to take you behind the scenes with the Corvette Z06 GT3R, and we're going to find out from the team what went into creating this all-new race car based off the street-legal Z06. How will it fare against the brand-new Mustang GT3 and GTD race cars? We're going to find out. Okay, right now it's time for them to pull out the Z06s to stage for the race, and they're pulling out initially the number 4 car qualifying wise. These actually performed really good, especially compared to the competition. So I think right away they're going to have a really good position for getting on the grid. They're about mid-pack right now, and here they go pulling out the second C8 Z06 GT3R. Look at the diffuser down below. So getting a closer look at the interior of the Corvette Z06 GT3R, as you can see here, it's pretty tight, but a ton of safety systems are at play to make sure the driver is going to be perfectly sound for the race and any crashes. Overall, 24 hours is going to be the total race time. So for testing out a brand new model like this is a perfect endurance race. And that's what the whole GTD class is going to be all about when you really look at it. Check out this angle of attack right here in front of us on this embankment. This is a clear view. I'm already kind of walking or standing on a slant like that. Look how vertical this whole ground is. If I barely walk up it, I gotta walk sideways, and then now look at the angle. This is pretty crazy. So here's a good view of actually standing on the track before they come on the track. In front of us is a 296 GT3. A lot has changed versus a street legal vehicle. You have massive dive planes up front, as you can see right here. It looks as elegant as ever, and it's got a Texas hat over on top of the vehicle. GTD, the races are about to begin. This is such a unique look for the 296 because out back, having that whole carbon fiber engine cover on top instead of the plexiglass or the glass you usually have out back for a rear hatch completely changes the vibe and the visual presence of this Ferrari. I'm curious how a Pista variant of the street platform will do in the future, what they will do for a design. Having this wide body effect with those floating exit blades and a massive low-hanging, far sticking out diffuser gives such an aggressive appeal to the entire vehicle. And the single dual exhaust pipes on either side is a pure throwback to the vehicle you can buy. Okay, in front of us is a brand new Ford Mustang GT3 staged out here. They debut race for the Mustang entering the GT3 and Mustang GTD class. As you guys know, they are making a street legal version of this car right here, the Ford Mustang GTD, which is based off this whole class. It's going to be very important for the team to do a good job, I think, or put on a good show, because the whole nameplate of this next-gen, let's say $300,000 Ford Mustang really depends on it. This is where you prove what your team can do. Okay, here we are. We are in pit lane with Ben right behind me. Thank you so much for joining me and actually giving me a tour of the new Z06 GT3R. Ben right here is a team manager, is that correct?
That's right, team manager for Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller Motorsports.
That is awesome. I think you're also telling me how you worked on some of the aerodynamics as well. Absolutely. With the race car, but I'd love if you would give me a quick tour of what you guys are most excited about with the new Z06 GT3R coming out here for its debut, and some key differences between this and the C8R you've been racing for quite a while now. That'd be awesome.
Definitely. So we obviously have a good starting point with the C8R in terms of establishing our performance benchmarks. And the cars may look similar, but they're actually entirely different from an aerodynamic perspective. A lot of that's driven by the GT3 FIA homologation regulations, so I can take you through some of those differences. We've got an entirely different cooling package on this car. On C8R, the radiator exits split on either side of the fenders. So this car has a typical waterfall cooling exit. The C8R had split radiator exit on either side. The entire front bumper and splitter are all different. The underbody's newly developed. The front fender's all new. The ducting internally is all new, the diffuser is all new, the car has more downforce than before. It's also sharing more production content than the GTLM C8R, the new GT3 car, with more of a customer focus. It's got 80% of the engine components common with the production Z06.
Really?
Wow. More commonality in the frame, and the crew and the design team, everybody back at Pratt Miller and GM, we've been working so hard on this car. We started the development late 2020, if you can believe that. So everybody couldn't be more excited for the race debut of the new Z06 GT3R.
I'm very excited. I actually bought the Z06 street car, and I loved on the track. It's so much fun. It's so cool seeing a race car that's based off the street car come out here, go against the greatest cars in the whole class. For GTD, this is a big deal because this is, again, the next gen version for you guys. And thinking about how this chassis comes right off the Kentucky assembly plant, right? And then you guys take that chassis that you'd have in a road car and then create this right in front of us.
It means so much as an American team to be competing against the best in the world. You look down the grid and you see Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, and it's going to be a tight race. The crew's been spending so much effort down here at the Roar leading up to the race. At this point, we're just ready for that green flag to drop.
One last thing, but before I wrap up, because I know you're really busy right now, there's a lot going on. Can we touch base real quickly towards the rear on some of the big changes out back?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got an enlarged rear wing. We can probably sneak around here just a little bit. The new GT3 regulations allow a larger volume diffuser, which means we can push the kick line further forward. We get more expansion, and that gives us more efficient rear downforce. So that was a major change compared to the GTLM rules, and a major area of development. The rear fascia is restyled based on the Z06 instead of the base Stingray that we homologated the C8R to. So you see all those Z06 styling cues carried through, and then of course made a little bit more aggressive where the regulations allow.
I'm also noticing on the engine hatch, you guys now have those louvers, right, for venting?
Yep, pit lane cooling, again, driven a little bit by the regulation differences. The regulations actually require those to be clear, so if you look real closely, those are clear Lexan. Cool little aesthetic features, but what's so neat is that all those have a functional purpose as well.
And then even going to the street car, again, you guys are also still using the double wishbone suspension on this race car as well?
Yep.
Plus the flat plane crank?
Still has a flat plane crank, That's right.
Well, I can't wait to see how it does out here. Thank you for giving me a quick tour of the vehicle again, and I can't wait to see how it does.
Thank you so much. Dude. Cheers.
As the clock begins, each team has a unique strategy at hand. Most importantly, right now, I can tell the mindset is to survive. The goal is to make it to the end of 24 hours, and those final hours is truly when the race begins. Right now, it's all about endurance. As the crowds start to leave, Pratt Miller and the competition must fight through the night. Poor weather conditions are over the horizon. The team must be on alert and on standby for anything to happen. It's incredible to watch these teams put everything they have into this throughout the night, throughout the pain and the tiredness each member experiences. They're all united for this one goal for 24 hours. Let's flash forward to sunrise in the final hours where the race stops being about endurance and is about winning. Encountering some issues during Sunday morning, the team ended up finishing in 5th and 8th place, beating the Ford Mustang GT3, which also suffered from some technical difficulties as well for their debut race. The biggest takeaway I find scouting the Corvette race team behind the scenes is that no matter what position they finish in, they learn something from their experience. It's incredible watching the team come together at the end of the race, everyone giving hugs to each other, celebrating their finish for a 24-hour race. The team checks this one off the list and moves on to the next in hopes of getting even better.
And here we have it, guys. We have made on pit lane. The race is over. They've got all the vehicles staging right now. We have the Cadillac prototype LMP car behind me. And then in front of me, we have the Ferrari 296 GT3 race car. This whole lineup is just getting filled up right now. Honestly, being part of this race, being able to watch it next to fellow team members, everyone is so enthusiastic about what they're doing. There's a sense of purpose and belonging. Everyone is just working perfectly in harmony for a common goal. It's awesome seeing so many car enthusiasts gathered in one place. Here we have the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 car. Look at all the pieces of rubber and tar all over the vehicle. Now the McLaren 720S GT3. A big fan of the S-Duct, but you can see the damage inflicted over time with all the massive pieces of rubber flying off cars in front. It's incredible knowing this ran for 24 hours. I don't really feel much heat coming off the vehicles. That's funny. Looking back at a McLaren street car, that would be the active spoiler, and it's perfectly fixed there, and then they have a fixed rear wing on top. Here we go. The number 4 Corvette Z06 GT3R. Shout out to the drivers. They did a great job. 5th and 8th place for its debut out here. Look at the damage inflicted from falling behind cars. Yet it made it back in one big piece. I think that's the highlight of this entire race weekend. The endurance these vehicles can be put through, yet still make it out in the end of the day. That intake style is the same as the street car itself, yet the interior is fully stripped out, as you can see here, and they have massive aero. Let me know, what do you think of the performance with the Z06 GT3R from Pratt Miller Motorsports and Corvette? Look at all the pieces of dirt and let's say the residue from the exhaust, probably all the fumes out back. The diffuser is surprisingly still in one big grand piece, thankfully. What do we have behind us? Another Porsche GT3 race car. I'm such a Porsche fan. You guys know that here on the channel. Just did a test on the Manti Racing GT3 street car. It's so cool. And speaking of all the debris over time, yep, dive planes are losing place. Okay guys, that's gonna wrap up my time here at the track. Hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes content. If you did, make sure to like button, subscribe, check out social. Instagram is speed_phenom. Let me know your thoughts of how it performed out here, and if you own a Corvette yourself. I'll see all of you in the next episode.